Welcome to DarkHorse Matters, the show about people, their passion, and pursuit toward happiness. I'm your host, Bev Matayoshi, and my hopes is to inspire all of you out there, with these amazing people that I invite on the show to share their stories that drives them, the catalyst that creates their passion, and how it impacted not only themselves, but the people around them. Because that's what life is about. Life is about impacting the world in a positive way and making the world a better place. And you can't do that without passion. Today's guest, I'm super excited. I'm so privileged to share with you him because he just really inspired me so much. He's a dentist. I had the privilege of seeing him speak at HINMAN, which is one of the biggest dental conventions pre-pandemic in Atlanta. And I was so impressed with his dynamic energy and passion, which is what makes him such an amazing teacher. He's a highly professional person who is involved with so much, it just blows my mind. He is a member of the American College of Sports Medicine.
Yeah.
He an NSCA certified personal trainer and a certified yoga instructor on top of that, an author of a book called Miracle of Health. And he also traveled the world and spoke on 400 TV and radio interviews and 500 lectures about integrative wellness in 7 different countries. I mean, oh my gosh, I cannot believe he has time to speak on my podcast. So I'm so grateful for that. But with that being said, please give a warm welcome to Dr. Uche Odiatu, D.M.D. Woo! Yeah!
Hey, always a pleasure sharing my interests and my insights with the world. So thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
No problem. I really appreciate you coming on here. And let me kind of just tell the audience about how I heard about you. My boss, who is a dentist, he had the privilege of hearing you speak. And he was so fired up after that lecture. He came to work and was just like, you guys gotta see this guy speak. And, when the HINMAN, catalog came out with all the classes, he literally highlighted it and was like, you gotta take this class and this class. So all the hygienists at our office literally signed up for all your classes. And we were kind of like Dr. Uche groupies. So that's how we found out about you. And I was so grateful because I just gained so much value watching you speak and just see you captivate the audience. And everybody is just so engaged and so full of energy. So I really appreciate that. You really have a talent at, really teaching everybody. So very, very cool to watch.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been something, storytelling has been part of human history for thousands of years. And I think anytime, if you have a message, getting good at stories that engage and get people to create a shift in how they see something is what it's all about. Like you can't teach someone 1,000 things in a day or 100 things in a day, but you can actually create a shift in perception. And my big thing is can an audience member suspend their disbelief momentarily for my certainty about an area, and then I have an inlet. That's the tool.
So before we actually get more into, learning about you, I kind of just want to get a background. So can you tell the audience a little bit about where you're from and where you grew up and a little bit about your family?
Sure. I was born in England. My mom was passionate about nutrition. My dad about school and nutrition and exercise. My mom would always say, drink your cod liver oil. It's good for your brain. And that stuck with me, age 6, age 7. A lot of parents tell people what to do, but you add a why, and I realized that it's more convincing. And my dad was all about work, school, but also after a certain amount of time doing homework, it was get outside. He was all about that Greek philosophy, a sound mind in a sound body. And around age 8, he took all 4 kids and my mom to Canada. He heard Pierre Trudeau at the time, he was the Prime Minister of Canada, and he heard Pierre Trudeau going around the Commonwealth saying how great Canada was, and he championed Canada and grew up in Canada. My dad was a carpenter, so humble beginnings, but he wanted all 4 kids to go to school and university. So all 4 of us went to school. He was very persuasive. So see, the seed was planted early. So all 4 of us went to university. We got single degrees, multiple degrees. And I live in Toronto now. I've been a practicing dentist for over 25 years. I'm a certified trainer, a yoga teacher, boot camp instructor, even got licensed as a Zumba instructor 1 year just for something to do. And I've been speaking for 15 years, lecturing at conferences and writing articles. I got a book in the works. So all that being said, I think I'm a vehicle. I feel like I'm a vessel. And it's not even about me. It's just I've tapped into something, and it's how to get people excited about their health again. Most people know health is important, but many of us need a reminder. And I think I am that reminder for many people. And I would say I take myself lightly. With a name like Uche Odiatu, I would say being a practicing dentist, if you're a patient of mine and you're numb, just try and say that name when you're numb, Achidodo, Dr. Itchy, Dr. Up. But so I always mention that I take myself lightly, but I take my subject matter very seriously. Literally, what people learn in an article or in a session or a keynote, it's a matter of life and death, because it's amazing when you shift how you look at exercise, or shift how you look at patient protocols, or shift how you look at hydration and even the gut microbiome. It completely changes your experience with that. And it's quantum physics, but it's also philosophy, and it's a way of looking at the world. So the world simply reflects back to us how we see ourselves. And that's why it's such a great mirror. A safe world, you're coming from a safe place. A dangerous world, hey, what are you doing? So that being said, I've applied it all to health and wellness. I'm an integrative wellness coach and author, and that's who I am. That's my energy. That's where I come from.
That's so cool. I didn't know that you're living in Canada. I didn't know that. But I always ask all the dentists that I've interviewed. I think you're the third dentist I'm interviewing on this show so far, but I know a lot of dentists because I'm a dental hygienist. And I always ask them this question just because I'm just so fascinated with the answers that I get. So out of all the careers that you could have chosen, and you have a nice educational history, but why dentistry? How did you land into that field?
It's amazing. It's a great question. I think there's like thousands of careers. I remember seeing a telephone book size career choices, and it said 32,000 careers. So ultimately, you can keep switching as your interests go, but you got to see what your values are. I'm a big believer in health. I'm a big believer in artistry. I love psychology. I have a Bachelor of Arts in psychology and a minor in chemistry. So I love the human mind. I love personal development. I draw. I played guitar. And at age 21, I was in the gym working out, and another student that was in dental school asked me what I was doing. And I said, well, I'm just finishing up my psychology degree. I'm not quite sure. I said, maybe the biological sciences, maybe medicine, dentistry. He goes, you know what? He goes, if you're into lifestyle, dentistry is the way to go, because at 4 or 5, 6 o'clock, you can go home and you can come back the next day. There is no overnights. And I went, wow, lifestyle applied to career. And I applied and got in, and the rest is history. Haven't looked back.
That is such a systematic way of deciding what you're going to do. A lot of people don't think about their career that way. They just think, I don't know, I have to go to school, and I'm just going to take something, but without really thinking about, okay, what happens when I graduate? I love that you were so thoughtful about your lifestyle and how that's going to incorporate into your life, because it's important to you. I wanted to ask you, because you're one of the most dynamic speakers, how did you get into public speaking? You're so passionate about that, and you're very good at it. So how did that come into dentistry and public speaking? I don't see the connection there. So how did that manifest?
Great question. My mom is a great talker. She's got an Irish background. She always had the gift of the gab. She was hilarious, but she was extremely shy in public. One-on-one, she could hold a conversation, but in public, like a deer in the headlights. My dad, very quiet, philosophical guy, deep thoughts, but again, not a very vocal guy. So I can't really tell you where I got the passion for storytelling. I always know that I love when I told one of my friends a story and got them engaged. I loved the expression on someone's face, even in school, when I was sharing a story and everyone would lean in. And I started picking up ways to get people to lean in. And I saw that when you inject some of your enthusiasm in, people lean in more, because you want to spend time with people who are passionate or excited about whatever they do. How was the weekend? Well, tell you the truth. Hey, you should have seen Friday night. And it was uphill from there, So I did Toastmasters for a few months back, maybe 25 years ago. I enjoyed it, but it was more like a soliloquy. And I didn't want to just do soliloquies. I like a conversation with people's hearts. I find that whole speaking voice is something where you can't just talk to people at a cerebral level, because no one's ever changed or ignited or made a shift in how they look at things by looking at their mental view. I find you got to tie in some emotionality and get some gut feelings. I remember my mom, she would watch Billy Graham. He was an evangelical superstar. He had like 200,000, 1 million people in Brazil. He set a record for live in-person events in the 60s and 70s. I remember watching him one time. This is before I was even in dental school. I thought, wow, that guy, he has no pictures. All he would do is he would tell a story from the Bible. He would tell a similar theme from a movie, and he would tell a story from public events, like a news story. And well, that's pretty interesting. He didn't just come at one direction. So movie, newspaper, Bible, movie, newspaper, Bible. And I thought, interesting way to get people to engage. You know, the person in the back was like hundreds of yards back in this sea of 500,000 people. But this one person with one story with multiple angles was able to create a shift in how people saw things. So I like that way of, not everyone sees the world the same way. So to attack it by a news story, a religious story, a health story, a public event, a historical story. Now there's no one that's going to be left unscathed from a story if you apply multiple angles to reach them.
Yeah, that's very true. I had a professor like that at school. He taught the Old Testament as literature. And, it was a pretty huge Bible as a textbook, and I just thought it was really engaging the way he taught, because he did that. He would tell the Bible story, but incorporate, other stories that are very similar from different cultures, even not just that one, source. Very, very cool way of engaging people. You're right. So I just think that's a talent. And, if you can, tell stories in a way that just really sparks people's attention, that just really, that's a huge, powerful way to impact people, especially with what you do.
Well, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about your interviews that you've done all over the world? How do you get these interviews, and where exactly have you traveled?
I've probably spoken in 7 countries, Denmark, Norway, Jamaica, Bermuda, USA, England. And I think, people say they want to speak all over the world. They want to make an impact. But I think ultimately you got to make an impact locally. I think people only knock on your door to hear your opinion if you're powerfully committed to a certain message. I find once you find a message, and if you're uniquely poised to give it, people will ask you about that message. I think many people talk about wanting to speak more, but they don't have an area of expertise. So it's not only having an area of expertise, it's a certain unique way of sharing it, because there's limited amount of stories and limited amount of topics in the world. But unique, though, is the fingerprint of the human heart and my individual heart and mind behind that story. So if you have a unique way of sharing a story and it moves people emotionally, people will knock on your door and saying, please tell us more about integrating wellness. Please tell us more about how to lose weight. Please tell us more how to make the new patient exam more engaging. Please tell us more about the gut microbiome. So having a unique story and a message, people will knock down the door to have you share it.
Yes. And actually, when I saw you speak at HINMAN, that's one of the lectures that you talked about, was the gut microbiome. And it was so interesting. Can you share with the audience a little bit about what you teach with that? Like, why is it so important to be aware of what you put in your gut?
Yeah, great. The microbiome is an invisible area. I think most people worldwide say bacteria is bad. However, it is exceedingly wrong. And for hundreds of years, people to this day still think bacteria is bad. But the National Institute of Health finished the first phase of the Human Microbiome Project in 2012. And that first phase showed there's a whole world inside us. There's 100 trillion single-celled organisms that literally outnumber human cells 10 to 1 in our bodies. But 99% of them are good flora. They're good bacteria. And they live in a symbiotic, harmonious relationship with us. If we feed them certain things, they give us back certain byproducts like anti-inflammatories. The human body is like a pharmacy. We make our own chemicals and hormones and neurotransmitters, but you got to feed your bacteria what they want. So I'll give you an example. So most diseases in the modern times have an inflammatory component. Diabetes, periodontitis, gingivitis, hepatitis, pancreatitis. Cancer has an inflammatory component. Our body, and in particular our gut flora, the 100 trillion cells that call us home, Most of them live in the large intestine. There's only one type of food they want, nothing else. But no one talks about it. They talk about essential amino acids, essential fat, and carbs get a bad reputation. However, fiber is a carbohydrate. So anytime someone says I'm low carb, I think, oh, God bless your heart. I wonder how you're looking and feeling, because your bacteria ferment carbs, and they ferment the carbs in the large intestine. And when they ferment those carbs in the large intestine, they make something called short chain fatty acids. So SCFAs are one of the most potent anti-inflammatory agents your body makes. The neat thing is though, so if you're eating a lot of fiber, about 25 grams for women, about 35 grams for men, your body now has the ability to douse the flames of inflammation, not just for the big things like cancer, but little things like little joint pain and inflammation that happens after you've eaten too much or you've scratched yourself. Because our body is an incredible, miraculous machine. The sad thing is, what people don't do though, they starve their bodies of fiber. You know, throughout human history, we averaged about 100 grams a day back in prehistoric time. North America now, average person, a half of the amount of fiber the microbiome wants, so the bacteria want. And to give an example, only 3%, like 3% of the population eats the recommended amount of fiber. So 97% of people are unable to make short chain fatty acids, unable to douse the flames. So lots of inflammatory diseases, out of control these days. And still to this day, they don't know. But I love sharing with someone that insight. I love in a written form, in this format, in a live format, how literally fiber is one of the cheapest things that you can eat, you know, but there's no lobby group for fiber. You know, there's no one outside the White House saying, you know, we want more fiber, we want more fiber. But an apple is cheap. A pound of apples, $1.40. An avocado, you can get 2 for $3. But you give the body what it wants. And that's just one aspect of it. You give your bacteria what it wants. They will give you everything you want. And it's not just nutritionists. Immunologists and microbiologists have declared that fiber is a primordial, foundational, keystone need for our bacteria. And without them, they flatline and they're unable to make what we need, which is anti-inflammatory components.
Yeah. Inflammatory problems. I mean, inflammatory problems, like it's so widespread. If you're not eating the right things, you're not going to have those things that help your body. And it's just so important. And I just really appreciate you spreading the knowledge about this, because I didn't know about probiotics. Like I didn't think that was a normal thing to take every day until I heard you speak. So very, very valuable information.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was thinking about, like, you're one of the top practicing dentists traveling around the world. You know, like, how do you have time to do all of that and be a dentist too? That just blows my mind. And I love watching you on Instagram, you know, all your pictures of you dressed in scrubs doing like pull-ups in your office with all your staff members. That is so cool.
Oh, thank you. You know, I'm still in the office, you know, 3 days a week. You know, I have 4 kids. I travel. It seems like I'm always on the road, but I repost. I share things from different books I've read. I love speaking. I might leave Thursday night. I'm back Friday morning. I like leave Friday morning. I'm back Saturday morning. So I'm quicker than you think. I also find traveling is almost like an athletic event. You got to train for it. You got to stay hydrated. I take probiotics on the road. I bring miso soup on the road. I sleep with a sleep mask in hotel rooms. I exercise briefly in hotels, you know, 20, 30 minutes, no hour-long mega session, just to remind my body how it needs to move. I stretch on the plane. I love traveling. My mantra is I love traveling. So I have a lot of fun traveling stories. Just like Wayne Dyer said, a PhD, author of about 40 books on psychology. He said, when you change the way you look at something, the things you experience change. So because my mantra is I love to travel. Traveling is a tool. I seem to have pretty good experiences traveling. You know, I don't attract a whole lot of bad ones or adverse ones. And even then, if I'm stuck somewhere, I'm meant to be there. I'm meant to stay another night. Maybe I'm not supposed to get on that red eye. So I have almost like a guided feeling to my life. But at the same time, though, people often think I spend a lot of time posting. I've read voraciously my whole life. I'd say hundreds of books in the last 25 years. I've been listening to audiobooks since third year dental school. So I have a ton of stuff in my brain. I read articles. In being a certified trainer, I get all kinds of, you know, peer-reviewed articles from multiple different neat organizations. But because it's become who I am, I post very quickly. I read an article to make it my own, to drive it deep into my psyche. What I do is I read an article, I highlight 3 points. And those now 3 points, if I put them into a post, now those 3 points become mine forever. And so it's quicker than you think. They'll think, how long does it take you to come up with a post? Hours? No, I said, I'll spontaneously do something about sitting on a plane too long. And it comes from a place of sharing. And so it might look like I spent a lot of time, which is good though, because then organizers want to pay me well. But I do it really quickly and it seems effortlessly. But like I said, any person looks like they're a master was at the beginning of disaster. So I've spent years honing some of these skills and now it looks effortless, but it comes from a good place. I want to share and I want to let people know though, if they see something inside me that inspires them, like if they see me as a really enthusiastic, energetic person, usually it means the person looking at me is also energetic. But I tell the audiences, if you see me as mildly a fast-talking, annoying person, guess what? You're annoying. So we see the world the way we are. And I find my mom, God rest her soul, passed away at 92, 5 years ago, always talked about a brighter outlook and always talked about good things are right around the corner. Make the best of it. And she said that enough times. It's become a personal, one of my mantras inside my brain whenever I hear something going to happen, something good's going to happen or wonder what's exciting is going to happen today. God bless her heart. My dad was the same way. So it's been a really fun ride sharing this philosophy. Now it's the legacy that passed away now, but it's the legacy that I'm leaving.
So can you share a little bit about your insight about sleep? I know that's important. That's like one of the things that I learned from you when I heard you lecture, the whole importance of getting good sleep and how you prepare for sleep every night to get good sleep.
Sure. Sleep is an often forgotten thing in health. You'd be surprised how many people go to the doctor's office because of fatigue and being tired. 70% of adults actually get less than 7 hours a night. 70%. 30% get less than 6 hours. Back 100 years ago, only 1% of North Americans slept less than 6 hours. Now it's a third. From everything I've read about neuroscience and sleep research, they said that sleep is foundational. It's not just a pillar, it's the bedrock of all health. There's some articles and there's books. There's a really good book called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, PhD out of Berkeley. He said, if poor sleepers are poor healers. He said, nightly poor sleep is like a slow suicide because you're sabotaging the efforts of your body to heal. All day long, it's a very catabolic world. We do things, we digest things, we eat things, we think things, we read things. At nighttime, the brain likes to sort it out. It wants to put it away. It wants to heal the cut. And if we shrink that time from 8 hours down to 4, now the body has leftover debris from the day before and you drag it into another day. And now things rarely get put away. It's like if you go shopping and you keep putting those bags and boxes on your bed and never put them away, the bedroom looks like a mess. Many people's minds look like a mess because they don't sort their debris out and the information out every night. The brain loves clarity and solving. So without the time and energy input, the brain has a lot of unfinished business. And no wonder we have brain fog and lack of clarity and people are basically living on coffee and energy drinks as fuel.
Wow. I never thought about it that way. Like your body just cleaning out the debris. I mean, how many hours do you recommend like people get to have enough time to do that?
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like I'd say in my 20s and 30s, I bragged how little sleep I needed. And lucky for me, I've got good genetics and I was able to get by. But it wasn't until one day I was in the front row of one of my mentors and he was speaking on sleep. And he said, if you're an athlete or if you want to be a high performer, you're literally sabotaging your success by sleeping less than 7 hours. I remember hearing Michael Howard, he's a neurophysiologist out of Boston. And he said, sleeping less than 7 hours at night puts you at risk for 7 serious diseases. So you don't have to call me dumb I'm writing these notes down. This is kind of silly. I'm in the front row writing down notes of how important sleep is. And I was bragging to someone just recently how I got by on 4. So the science says between 7 and 9. However, when you're young, the sleep efficiency is very high. So 10 and 20-year-olds have a sleep efficiency of 90 to 95%, which means the time you spend in bed, you spend almost all of it sleeping. Some people say, I went to bed at midnight, got up at 7. Well, if they're 70, a lot of times their sleep efficiency is 60%. So they only spent about 4.5 to 5 hours sleeping. So technically, night after night after night, nothing's ever being repaired. And that's part of the physiology of aging. Kids' bodies break down as much as 70-year-olds' bodies, but they spend 9, 10, 11 hours a night repairing. So the 60, 70, 80-year-old does not spend the time repairing. So things break down. Skin is older, joints don't heal, muscles get loose, adipose tissue builds, hair falls out. So the body is an active construction project. It needs 7 to 9 hours a night as an adult to repair, grow, regenerate, and build back again to be stronger the next day.
Very interesting. Wow. And just putting it to that simple way is just very eye-opening. Wow. I better schedule sleep, a little bit more sleep into my life. Oh my goodness. But yeah, thank you so much for that explanation. Very, very interesting way to look at it. Can you tell us about like what kind of rituals you can do before bed that can help you get a more quality sleep?
Okay, it's a great question. You know, some of the top performers, and you look at athletes, a game is lost hundreds of a second. Olympic medals are lost with a hundredth of a second. So Usain Bolt, one of the fastest track stars in the world, 10 hours a night. Serena Williams, 9 hours a night. Tom Brady, who we're going to see in the Super Bowl this spring, 9.5 hours a night. LeBron James said sleep is a secret weapon, 10 hours. Michael Phelps, 11 hours. So that being said, these are athletes all getting older, but performing as well as athletes 20 years younger. So their rituals are things like wearing a sleep mask. The brain, a huge part of the brain is to take in visual input. So anytime we get light coming into our eyes, the pineal gland makes less melatonin and we spend less time in deep sleep, up to 27% less each night by having a room that's too dark. Orange glasses is like, if you Google Harvard School of Public Health, blue light, orange glasses, you'll see the robust research on how the blue light from LED lights, laptops, or cell phones, basically what it does is it's like looking at the sun at 10 o'clock. Even looking at your refrigerator, open up the refrigerator for a snack, the light goes, hello, it's noon. And now you go to bed at 11, you fall asleep quick because you're usually overtired from not getting enough sleep for the last few days. However, it's not a deep sleep because the pineal gland doesn't make melatonin. So throughout history, we're only supposed to have the light of a fire after sundown, the light of a fire. So orange light, red light are safe. The orange glasses, a lot of athletes now are wearing them to get the edge. You think, Uche, orange glasses, who needs that? I got coffee. Well, 27% less melatonin every night adds up. A night, no big deal. A year, a decade. And that's why they called shift work potentially a carcinogen, because your body never makes enough melatonin, and melatonin is powerfully important to have a robust, strong immune system. So orange glasses in the evening time, hour, 2 hours before bedtime, a sleep mask when I go to bed. Never go to bed with a full stomach, because a full meal means now the body has to digest that food over the 7 to 8 to 9 hours. So a big meal, nothing close to 3 hours before bedtime. A snack means an apple, maybe some nuts. Any alcohol eaten at dinner. Alcohol before bed sabotages your REM sleep, where the body processes emotion and processes memory. So you're actually getting my full day program in a nutshell. But ultimately, 7 out of 10 people aren't living the life they want, and wonder why they're not checking off their goals list, simply because they don't have enough gas in their tank, and they sabotage it by sacrificing sleep every night. It's a sacrifice.
Wow. That is just amazing to hear. Like, I mean, how many people are just, doing this right before bed, that is just like, you don't realize the damage that you're causing to your body and just your performance, just how to even just do the basic thing, which is sleeping. So can you tell the audience now about this book that you already published it, right? I saw it on Amazon.
Yeah, The Miracle of Health was something that came out about 13 years ago. I'm putting together a book now with an organization. It's meant for healthcare professionals. It's about wellness. It's about wellness for busy people. It's still in the works. It's still in the editing stage. There's, as much as I speak well, writing is a whole other skill set. So it's a challenge. I write articles, but a book is like to engage someone who, right now we get all information from video and audio. So to do a book now, I'm saying, think back to when you were 12 and loved Harry Potter. So I'm competing with J.K. Rowling and Stephen King, but I'm trying to wrap it up with anecdotal stories, insights, cutting edge science, in a way to get people to shift how they look at their body. My big thing is we need our body more than our body needs us. We need our body more than our body needs us. We can, as much as the mind is important, nothing happens without this vessel. So you get a certain amount of genetics, whether to be tall, lean, flat stomach, or wider, shorter. However, it's amazing how the nurture, the environment, what you do can epigenetically ramp up genes that can express lots of health for you. Or if you're a junk food eating, shift working, you don't enjoy your job, you don't dehydrate well, you don't exercise, you will now ramp up gene expression of conditions that don't serve you. So stacking the deck in your favor is going to bed on time. Stacking the deck of good health is moving regularly. Stacking the deck in your favor is having a salad a day. Stacking the deck in your favor is choosing your right livelihood, doing work that's meaningful and makes, at the end of your day, you might be physically tired, but your heart is full. Those are my 4 pillars for leading quite an elegant life, if that's what the purpose is.
Thank you so much for dropping those. I hope you guys were taking notes, everybody. Some really, really good information. But I can't wait to, learn more about this book that you have in the making. And please, can you drop where people can find you so we can be updated on when this book comes out?
I'm probably most active on Instagram. I post, 2 or 3 times a day. I have stories on there. My account, you look under my name, but obviously at Fit Speakers. Fit Speakers is the name. That's the name I've chosen. That's really the best place. People direct message me, and I love, as much as I'm giving people information, I feel like I'm tapping into the zeitgeist of their desire by direct messages. Because I could think, oh, it's all about the microbiome, and they think, what probiotic do I take? It's all about sleep habits. Where do you buy a good orange set of glasses? So I realize people get inspired, but they want practical, first, easy step. And I think, Confucius always, Confucius, thousands of years philosophy, Chinese philosophy. He said, if the best time to have planted a tree was 30 years ago, the next best time is today. If the best time to have started doing push-ups was 30 years ago, the next best time is today. So I try and make that entry-level step easy because most people find it insurmountable. So Fit Speakers on Instagram is probably the best place to chat, interact, learn what I do, get motivated, or direct message me. I love sharing from the heart with people that matter. Those are my colleagues.
Yes, and he responds. He always responds. Like when I reached out to you, you responded right away, and I love that. And it's very good that we have people like you out there who are very educational, who are just so supportive to all the people that want to learn more. So really appreciate you for that. So thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing your knowledge and your value. And I just can't wait to learn more about this book that you have coming out, and just to watch you on Instagram and see what you're up to. Super exciting stuff.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yes. So, and he is a very passionate person, and passion that I appreciate, the energy that people like you bring to, the world, because it just is inspire. If it can inspire those of you out there to find what it is you're passionate about, that is just so important in this world now, especially after what we all have been through in 2020. So thank you so much, Dr. Uche. Really appreciate you. And, I can't wait to engage with you more in the future, with all your teachings that you have to come. Hopefully I can see you at HINMAN again if it becomes live and not virtual.
No, I'm there. I think is that members only night in January. I am the guy. Like there will be, you'll be surrounded by beluga whales and whatever. I'm not sure what kind of sea creatures they have, but in that huge room, it's dinner and a movie. I'm the movie. So it'll be 2 hours of, January 17th and 19th. That'll be in 2022. But also I'll be at HINMAN in March. So I'll be in Atlanta doing, I think, 4 or 5 programs. And that reminds me, I gotta add in or upload my program titles. So I'll be in Atlanta for sure twice between January and March next year.
Awesome. That's good to hear. I will definitely be signing up. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Uche. And thank you, everybody, for joining us on DarkHorse Matters, the show about people, their passion, and their pursuit toward happiness. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the like, and then the bell so you can be notified every single time we have a new story out here to inspire you. So until next time, you all be passionate.